This is a true Pokemon story that happened to MCdexX. We're walking around playing Pokemon Go late at night. I got the absolute crap scared out of me. I can't be sure anything truly weird happened because it was dark and I might have let my imagination run away with me. But damn, did it ever make my spine tingle. Some background: I live in the northern suburbs of Melbourne, in an old established suburbs that tends to be very quiet. There's no crime to speak of apart from the occasional burglary, and it's perfectly safe to walk around at night. It's very green with lots of trees and there's a beautiful creek reserve running down one side of it. It's a really nice place to live. I got into Pokemon Go a few weeks ago and it's been great for me and getting me exercise. My Fitbit's report for my steps per day have more than doubled since I started playing, meaning it's the most effective exercise tool I've used in years. For those who haven't played Pokemon Go, it's a free game you play on your mobile. You walk around in the real world and catch little digital creatures, which you then train up and use to fight other players' creatures. You also collect eggs and have to walk long distances to hatch them. Anyway, tonight, I went on a walkabout in the dead of night. I'd had a few eggs to hatch, so I figured I'd get some exercise and see if I could hatch them eggs, and maybe even catch a few new Pokemon while I was at it. I was about 4 blocks from my home. When I decided I'd walked enough and it was time to head back, I decided to cover different ground, so I took a left, intending to walk around the block and head home on a different street. So there I was, walking along the crossroads street, phone held out in front of me with the screen light on, and about to turn left and head back towards my home, when, from my right, across the road, I heard a really weird noise, kind of like a whimpering combined with a rasping noise. I looked, but there was a big old tree casting a shadow from the streetlights, so it was just a pool of darkness that my eyes couldn't penetrate. My first thoughts were, was it that big dog? Had he gotten out of the yard? And I worried he might be vicious. There have been a dozen or so cases of dogs getting out and mauling people at night in the last decade or so in Melbourne, so it was a real, if remote, risk. Then I heard a scuffle of shoes on concrete, and I realised someone was walking towards me through the patch of darkness. I could very faintly see just a pair of legs in a silhouette, but nothing else. I got a vague sense he was very tall and very skinny man, but not unnaturally so. We're not talking slender here, just a tallish, skinny-ish, regular person. What really freaked me out though was the noise he was making. I had mistaken it for a dog whimpering, but it was him. He was kind of squeaking in a high-pitched voice, but it was muffled and oddly strangled. I was frozen for a few seconds as he walked closer. Then I decided fuck it, I was turning my back on him and heading home at a very brisk walk. As I walked, I could hear him behind me, still making those weird muffled squeaks, and occasionally I could hear his shoes scraping on the footpath. I'm a big guy, fairly imposing to look at. Wow, so I've been told. So I very rarely feel unsafe when I'm out at night, but this guy was freaking me right out. I didn't want to look back, but I found I couldn't keep walking with this freak behind me and not at least get a look at him to see how far behind me he was. So without slowing down, I turned and looked. He was about 15 meters behind me, 50 feet or so, and even though he was out from under the shadows of the trees and had crossed the road, all I could see of him was a silhouette. The irrational part of my brain was trying to tell me that he was just listening to music and he was singing along, very badly, and he thought he was being quiet and didn't realise I could hear him. But I couldn't see any headphones on his head, and he was just a black shape, and I was genuinely scared now. My nerves broke and I crossed the road. I figured, hey, at least I'll know if he means me harm because he'll have to cross the road. Follow me. I glanced back again as I crossed, and he was still there, 15 meters or so back, and still just a silhouette. I honestly couldn't tell you an age or a racial background. He was a shadow, nothing more. That would have been the most unnerving thing about him if it wasn't for that damned whimpering noise he kept making. I finished crossing and just walked faster, going as quick as I could without breaking into a run. I can walk at a pretty brisk pace, but that high-pitched murmuring was still behind me. It seemed to be louder. I was on the edge of my panic now, and I looked back one more time. He was right fucking behind me. Without making any scuffling sounds on the path, he had closed in right behind me. He was less than 5 meters away, about the length of the big sedan, and he was still making that creepy whimpering sound. Part of me was determined that this was all completely rational, and it said, okay, he's just seen my phone, and he's about to mug me. That's all. He's just a guy, probably a drug addict, who just wants to steal my phone. And I was trying to suppress that other part of my mind that was screaming there is something seriously wrong here, and he definitely just doesn't want to mug you. I looked forward again, and I tried walking faster, then the noise behind me stopped. Here it comes, I thought, and glanced behind. He was gone. The footpath behind me was empty. I nearly tripped over in surprise. He had vanished in like 2 seconds. I looked into the front yard he had been right beside, but I couldn't see him. I felt like it was a trap, and I wasn't meant to let my guard down, but I didn't care. I got out of there at top speed, jogging the last 2 blocks home. I didn't feel safe until I was inside with the locked doors. That's it. Like I said, most of it could have been my imagination, but several elements really felt off. The sudden burst of speed was the most worrying. He closed 2/3 of the distance between us in just a few seconds, without making any noise. It was freaky. What the fuck? Okay, that scared me. I heard a soft, high-pitched sigh from right behind me, and I nearly jumped out of my chair. It was just my cat snoring. Jesus, I nearly had a heart attack. So yeah, I'm pretty spooked right now. That freaky noise he made was the worst thing. It honestly sounded like someone with a gag over their mouth asking for help. High-pitched, muffled, and weirdly pleading. I know it's impossible. He was probably just like the world's worst singer, but damn, he really managed to spook me quite thoroughly. If anyone else had any odd encounters while out hunting Pokemon late at night, please share. This is a true story about Pokemon Go that happened recently to Reddit user Agatha S. My friends at school have been talking about Pokemon Go for weeks. Every time we have a lunch, it seems like a breakdown of the new Pokemon they've caught or where are the best spots around town to find them. And never when to stand up to peer pressure, I finally gave in and decided to start playing. I went to the app store on my phone and was going to download Pokemon Go, but just as I was about to, I saw something else at the bottom, Pokemon Go Plus. I figured this must just be the paid version, the ones without the ads or something, so I downloaded the Plus version of the app. I made an account and went outside. I couldn't find a single Pokemon on the screen at all. I figured this must be why it's so important to have a good spot, and headed to a park I remember them talking about. Once I got there, all I saw was other players playing Pokemon Go on my screen. They appeared with their little avatar pictures, outlined in colour, red, blue, yellow, along with their level. I couldn't believe parents let their kids play this game. It seemed so invasive in this world of strange danger. The only thing I couldn't see was Pokemon. I wondered what everyone holding their phones out and spinning around was looking at. So eventually I tapped on one of the trainers. Immediately their cam popped up, but not the one they were looking at the Pokemon through. Their face cam came up. I was seeing some guy looking so intensely at his phone. I thought it was crazy, and underneath it had a button that said verify. I tried tapping on it, and then my camera's view popped up, with the submit button. I tried hitting it several times too, but the screen would just show a big red X. Finally I got the idea maybe I should take a picture of this person I had tapped on. It was super easy to get a picture, just pretend like you were looking at the Pokemon like everyone else. Once I had one, I submitted it, and it gave me one of those spinning circles for what seemed like a couple of minutes. Finally it came back with, trainer still alive, no points awarded. Well, I freaked out, closed the app and headed home. On my way I called my friend to ask him about this crazy game. Turns out he had no idea what I was talking about. No one had ever heard of Pokemon Go Plus, and everything I said sounded crazy. I went over to his place to show him the app, but when I tried to pull it up it glitched out and it was completely gone from my phone. He had a big laugh thinking I was just messing about with him, but I know what I saw. And since then I've heard stories of people playing Pokemon Go at night or in secluded places ended up going missing or dead. I even heard one story where one guy was attacked with his friend. They grabbed his friend, and while he was running he heard them say, "He's too low level, boys, don't bother." The friend was never found. So while you're out there and you see people pointing their phones around, be careful. Some of them might be playing a different game to you.
Edit. Adding a PM.
Okay, I am freaking right out. I just received this PM. A few details in it are, wow, read it for yourselves. I'm deleting the username and removing some of the identifying things just to protect the user's privacy. But this is otherwise unedited. Wow, chills down my spine right now. Hey MCdexX, weird name. My friend Ems showed me your story. I want to share my story with you. It's a lot like yours. I'm not a big guy like you, just a girl, turned 17 in October. So I go poker hunting with my besties. There's like 5 of us who go out together, on and off. But on this Saturday night, it was just me and my friend Ems, because the others were at this movie festival thing. We're in Adelaide, which is a lot like where you live. There's lots of parks, safe, not much crime. Still wouldn't do it alone though. So it's Saturday night and Ems and me did a big walk around the city looking for Pokemon and taking on gyms. Mystic forever. Anyways, one of my Facebook friends sent me a message saying there's a Charizard at the Botanic Gardens. We booked an Uber over there. It was late by then, about 2 AM, and yeah, technically the gardens were closed for the night, but me and Em found an open gate. Trespassing while playing Pokemon Go? Guilty. Even though it was closed and we weren't supposed to be in there, we met a few people with their phones out. They asked if we knew where the Charizard was, and we said we were looking for it too. So anyways, me and Ems ended up on our own way back deep in the gardens. No Charizard, but we did find a Pokestop with a lure on it. MCdexX here. Quick FYI, a lure is an item in Pokemon Go that you can shop and so on. Put it onto a communal Pokestop to attract more Pokemons to try and capture. We thought there'd be a few more people around the lure, but there was nobody. We sat on the bench and used the lure for a while. Caught my first polygraph, which was pretty cool. Here's where it got weird. The lure ended and we were going to go home and give up looking for the Charizard, but just as we stood up further in the garden lit up, all pink with a fresh lure. Em and me kind of looked at each other and said, whatever. So we went to the Pokestop. Nobody there either, just me and Ems. It was strange, huh? I mean, someone has to put the lures down, right? So I kind of felt weird, but then a Flareon spawned and it was exciting, so I kind of forgot I was scared. I know, damn right. So I went on and it was almost 3 AM when the lure ended. So me and Em were like really ready to go to bed. But then it happened again. Just as the lure ended, we saw another stop further in go pink with a fresh lure. We were both a bit freaked out by then. It really felt like someone was trying to use a lure to lure us. I wanted to run, but I said no, let's go and check it out, but quietly. So we tiptoed. Yeah, really properly tiptoed. So we tiptoed down to where the stop was, with the new lure. We hid behind a bush and looked over at the new place with the stop. It was this fountain thing with flower beds around it. And there was no light, but we were pretty sure there was nobody there again. Em and me looked at each other and again we were like, we're done. That's it, time to go. So we turned around and just started fast walking to the gate that we came in. That's when we heard the weird noise. It was like a little girl humming really badly, like she was trying to sing high, but it's like the worst singer. I looked behind but there was nobody there. So we just walked faster, wanting to get the hell out of there, like, oh my god. We never saw anyone, but the humming noise kept going behind us, and we were starting to get freaked. So you probably saw this coming. The gate was closed and locked. We looked at it and decided we're going to climb over it. It was tall and kind of spiky on the top, but Em and I did gymnastics at school and were good climbers. We put our phones in our handbags and poked them through the fence, and I climbed first. Very glad I wasn't wearing jeans that night. I got to the top and flipped over, and that's when I looked back at where we came from, and someone was there. I could see them, not too good because they were in the shadows of the trees, but I could see their shoes. Scratched up brown boots like work boots. I noticed the humming had gotten louder too, and said to Em, climb over now, don't argue. I say he because I don't really know, he was maybe 20 meters away. I looked down so I wouldn't land on our bags when I dropped, and when I looked up, he was closer. Didn't make any noise, like stepping over dead leaves or sticks, and he must have been really fast. Now he was like 10 meters away, and the weird humming noise was really loud. I didn't think it sounded like a little girl badly singing anymore. It sounded like a woman with someone's hands over her mouth, and she's trying to call out for help. Move it, now! I screamed. She flipped over the top of the fence, and I picked up both of our handbags and started backing away from the fence. Then Em screamed. I looked back, and the guy was right at the fucking gate. Em screamed again and fell on her butt. Then I kind of crab walked away from the gate. The high-pitched humming was really loud. I've got your bag, let's go now! I said, and Em got up and we ran. I haven't run that fast since we had a sports day at school. So scared. We didn't stand around waiting for an Uber, we just jumped in the nearest taxi and thought we'll eat the cost. We went back to Em's place and couldn't sleep, so we put a Titanic DVD on and both fell asleep on the couch. Oh, one more thing. Em told me in the morning why she screamed twice. The guy was right beside the gate the first time and he surprised her, so she just screamed with shock. But the second time was because she saw his face for just a second. She told me maybe it was just dark and I was scared, but I swear, he only had eyes. There was no nose and no mouth, just two really big eyes, and he was crying. So yeah, I'm done with that poker hunting shit in the park after dark. I might never even go to the Botanic Gardens again. Even in the daytime, that was some of the scariest shit I've ever seen. MCdexX again. There you go. I can vouch for you. I can vouch for the truth in that PM. But you can see for yourself that it's weirdly like my experience, and I have goosebumps all over my arms again, rereading it. Jesus, what the hell is going on out there? Hey, I'm Kira's Creepy. I hope you enjoyed the video about Pokemon. I enjoyed making it. And I want to say thanks to all the Redditors for their amazing stories. You guys for watching. Stay awesome. And if trouble comes your way, just try to make yourself look big.